Welcome back. It's another Creaky Bloody Gammas battle report. Let's get on with it.
So we'll see how he goes.
Alright, yeah, okay. So that's this guy. He looks like a runesmith, but he's an engineer.
Yep.
He thought he was an engineer, but now he are one. Right. And the organ gun. First time we've seen an organ gun. Cannons back. Quarrelers.
Yep.
With great weapons.
Yep.
We don't like them anymore after they defeated the elves. The king, and these are hammerers.
Yep, 25 of them.
Big unit hammers with the BSB.
BSB, yep.
5 up
Gyros.
ward. Yep. Gyros with the steam guns.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
More quarrelers.
More quarrelers up on the hill.
And the rangers.
And the rangers have decided to use their long range.
Yes.
Alright.
Who's the mighty Keefotep then dying? Get to the chariot. Now.
On his chariot, with a big unit of 7 chariots with the icon of Rakath, so they can do their free reform. There's the Hierophant, Cloak of Dunes. Maybe another item, I have to have a look. Then some horse archers. The Tomb Guard have got the Banner of the Desert Wind, so they've done their Vanguard move and they'll have reserve move. Mortuary Priest and more horse archers, and then I've got 2 brand new units of Necropolis Knights. So there's one out on that flank. Some archers in the woods, and the other ones are over there. I forgot, in ambush, swarms and 2 scorpions. That's well done. Okay, roll to see who goes first.
Yeah.
Where's my Tomb King's dice?
I finished first, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I'm on 3.
I got a 2.
I guess I'm
Got
on.
my Tomb King's dice working there.
Yeah. Vanguard move.
Let's go. Turn 1.
Yep, I've done mine.
Yep.
So the dwarves are doing their vanguard move with the gyrocopters. We should have done that a bit early before the roll off. I think is it the vanguard moves before your roll to see who's going first. I think it is anyway. The gyrocopters have moved up and they're going to jump over the top there. So the gyros are into the Tomb King's back lines already. So they've jumped over the top. They're going after the Hierophant, and then the dwarves are just going to sit back and shoot for a bit. My brandly new painted Necropolis Knights here are copping a few bolts from the, what are they, Rangers? The Rangers crossbows are shooting at the Necropolis Knights there, do a couple of wounds. The Quarrelers on top of the hill as well, so I maybe not get to see what the Necropolis Knights get to do. So I've made 2 small units of 3, one on each flank. But they really need reserve move on them to get them moving up the table, so they're a little bit slower than I would like, I think, not being able to march or anything. So they trundle or slither along the flanks. Then his cannon goes through the chariots, and I think he knocks out one of the chariots there. Nothing you can do about that, and the organ gun's just out of range. I think he also fires the Quarrelers at the chariots, so a few wounds into the chariots, and one of the chariots goes down. That's why I've got such a big unit. So Keefotep the Mighty will be able to get across the table. Probably lose a few chariots on the way in. We'll see what happens there. So that's pretty much it for the dwarf turn. Turn 1. Tomb King's time. Out of turn, I will do. My will be done. Yeah, he'll go for D3 extra movement. So they've got 2 extra movement. So luckily I got one of my ambushes on. The swarms have come on, and this time I remember that you place the unit and then they get to do a move on. So the swarms have moved on. Hopefully they'll be able to see off the gyrocopters. A bit of a worry. 2 gyrocopters. They are hard to remove. Toughness 5, and I don't really have anything really strong over there. I think the Tomb Guard are going to have to turn around. The Mortuary Priest is going to jump into the Tomb Guard, and the Tomb Guard will turn around because we just can't leave those gyrocopters behind my lines there. I don't think my horse archers are going to do much damage to them. And I we'll cast Desert Wind so I can reserve move the Necropolis Knights on this flank. That's the plan. and miasmic mirage on one of the gyrocopters, anti-stupid as well, whichever spell that is. And I shoot the horse archers into them as much as I can, but maybe do 1 wound to 1 gyrocopter if I'm lucky. Then my chariot's just going to line up with the icon of Rakaf. You can move up and then reform. So I've reformed them into a long line there. Do a little bit of shooting and trying to do what I can to these gyrocopters, but they seem impervious to our little bows. So they're okay, but at least one can't charge and it'll stupidity test. And I'm just screening the Hierophant with the horse archers. So he's gone for a bold move to try and get into the horse archers. The Necropolis Knights did their reserve move on that flank. So I've just moved the knights up, moved the chariots up, and everybody else is trying to see off those gyrocopters.
Turn 2.
Yep, Dwarf's turn 2.
Can you just move both my gyros?
One's stupid, remember?
Oh, that's right. So
He's got to do a stupid test. Yep.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. He's not stupid.
So I'll go move them so that
I'll tell you what he's got on him. He's got -2 to his movement characteristic.
Yep.
And cannot march or charge. That's one of them.
Yep.
So we've done everything we can to try and stop those gyrocopters getting at my Hierophant. So he's going to fly over and maybe... Well, it's not worth steam gunning the Hierophant, I don't think, because he's only going to do 1 wound. So he jumps over. He can't charge. I screened with the horse archers. So he decides just to steam gun the horse archers. So lots of steam gunning going on. 1 horse archer goes down. I think I might have done okay there. So I think both steam guns tried to get the Hierophant and as many of the horse archers as possible. So the dwarves, as dwarves do, just sit there and shoot. The cannon here is going to go through the Tomb Guard. Been playing vampires too much. They've turned around to try and see off the gyrocopters as well. The steam guns into the horse archers and the Hierophant there, and then a bit of shooting, organ gun, everything into the chariots. We get pretty lucky. Only a couple of the chariots die again, so I've lost a couple of chariots. Too far away to raise them.
Right,
And
Tomb
King's turn.
I'll do my will be done. Yeah, he passes. I'll go for D3 extra movement. Oh, I get 3. There he is. 3 extra movement. Arise. I'll do the Hierophant Arise here.
So, yes, I try to raise up that skeleton that he killed, the horse archer, but I fail there with a double 6 or something, and then I'm just going to throw some debuffs on the gyrocopters. So I've seen people run units of 3 gyrocopters. I think they'd be fantastic in units of 3. They're like flying chariots if you use them aggressively like chariots, because they are tough to get rid of, very manoeuvrable and so on. Just casting reserve move with the other level 2. And then, as you can see here, my scorpions have come on. Both come on at the same time, so I've stuck the scorpions behind his line. So it's fantastic. I mean, ambushes that come on behind the enemy. So the scorpions are up there behind the enemy lines, and then the chariots are moving up here. You probably think, what am I doing, moving the chariots, giving everyone a flank? But they have an extra 3 inches of movement this turn, and they have reserve move, and they have the icon of Rakaf so they can reform, so they're very manoeuvrable. So you can see I've just moved them again and then reformed them around the centre chariot. So very manoeuvrable. The knights are sneaking up the flank, and I'm just doing a reserve moves on the right-hand flank as well. And the battle here, so the swarms and my horse archers desperately have just gone in there to tie up the gyrocopters, while my Hierophant flew away with the Cloak of Dunes. So we win those combats there, but we haven't killed them. All right, so the gyrocopters are hanging around, being annoying, but at least we're stopping them from killing the Hierophant, which they could do pretty easily. They've killed my level 4 Orc Shaman a couple of times, if I leave him sticking out somewhere. Also my High Elf Mage, I think that last battle or something. So that's pretty much it for the turn. So we've tied up the gyrocopters here. The chariots are doing a bit of shooting. I'm really pointing the chariots towards his scouts on his left flank. I want to get rid of them because they have caused me many headaches over the last few games. So the chariots, with their extra 3 inches of movement, moved up, shot at the scouts, did nothing pretty much, and then moved again and then reformed. So I'm just going to try and attack on this left flank with the scorpions behind his shooting there. So 2 scorpions popped on. So my plan is to attack this flank and then sweep around that flank, trying to avoid the king's unit. I have some knights slithering forward on the right flank there to keep him tied up or occupied. And if I can get rid of those gyrocopters, I'll be able to start sending my little unit of Tomb Guard forward. So that's the Tomb King's turn 2.
Turn 3.
Yep. No other movement.
So the stunties turn 3, and the king turns to face my Necropolis Knights on that flank. So they're doing their job. They may not go in there, Necropolis Knights, because they won't be able to take out the king. He turns his artillery onto the chariots, and may have killed one chariot or something, but pretty ineffective shooting. So the chariots, they're not going to get rid of them. Here they come. And then his crossbows and rangers decide to pick on my newly painted Necropolis Knights on that flank. So I think I end up with 1 surviving, so that's not so bad. They took a bit of fire, drew fire away from the chariots, if nothing else. And then the continuing battle of the giants here, the swarms trying to finish off that they got poison attacks, and I couldn't roll any 6s. So that gyrocopter is going to beat up the swarms. So they're going to bounce back a little bit, but the mighty horse archers are holding their own, and they're going to tie up the other chariot. So, pretty cheap, those gyrocopters, and they've caused me a bit of a headache here. These units are supposed to be advancing forward and doing things, but instead they're having to deal with these pesky gyrocopters. So that gyrocopter there, I think the horse archers tie that one up. So one's free now because he pushed the swarm back. The other one being annoying.
So Tomb Kings, turn 3. Yeah, all right. Start a turn. I will go. My will be done. See if I pass first. Yep. And I'll go for something other than movement, I think.
Alright, so it's our revenge time. I've always struggled to get rid of these scouts, so I'm sending everybody in there. The chariots have got an extra point of weapon skill. The scouts have a deadly stand and shoot attack, but the Necropolis Knight, he survives with 1 wound left, and he barely makes his charge in, leaving room for the chariots to go in. There's plenty of room for them. The horse archers and the Tomb Guard are sneaking up the other flank. We've tied up those gyrocopters. My archers decide to shoot the guys on the hill. The Tomb Guard doing a reserve move, so maybe they'll get into combat eventually. But the scouts, they succumb to their wounds, so it's a bit of overkill here, but I wanted to make sure I absolutely wiped them out, so then I could reform and start to turn in on that flank. So they fought on bravely, but too much for the scouts. So we've suffered at the hands of the scouts many times in our last few battle reports, so we wanted to make sure we got rid of them. So that's the end of the scouts. So then we pass our leadership tests and we're able to turn to face. So we're going to turn this flank and start working on the rest of the army.
Turn 4.
Turn 4. So they're going to move to there. They're in combat over there still. Well, we didn't do these combats here.
Alright, so we forgot to do the combats with the gyrocopters. We were so caught up with the massacre of the poor little scouts. The swarms finished off one of the gyrocopters, and he's nearly killed. The other one's doing pretty well, and it's killed most of my horse archers who were trying to hold them up. So he moves the gyro over and does a steam gun attack on the tomb guard, who are just slowly shuffling forward. I'm not really sure why I've taken a small unit of tomb guard. I guess I wanted some little block of infantry. But they're just so slow compared to the rest of the army, they don't really fit in. So for this list, I could just swap them out for something a bit faster. Maybe a necro. I could fit a necro sphinx in there probably easily. But I just want to have some block for the priests to hide in, or hide next to, if there was a lot of shooting maybe. Anyway, and then he also fires the quarrelers and the cannon into the tomb guard. And so the tomb guard are falling like flies here. And then my necro knights, my necropolis knights are over there, are threatening the king's unit. You can see them in the background. He also has the organ gun. The organ gun gets a shot this time into them as well. I thought organ guns would auto hit or something, but they roll a lot of dice, but you probably need to buff them up with an engineer or something to get them to work properly. Anyway, that's the end of that turn for the dwarves.
Right. Tomb Kings. I will do. And my will be done. Yeah, I'll just go the +1 weapon skill.
Yeah.
So Tomb Kings turn 4. So the chariots are going to go into the quarrelers who reform to face them. The scorpions are just going to move up and are raised back into the tomb guard because the level 2 and the Hierophant are nearby. The necropolis knights chicken out fighting the king's unit on that flank, so they back up a bit. We're trying to get rid of this last gyrocopter, but they are proving hard to get rid of that one. He's got one wound on him. My archers do a little bit of shooting in the middle, and then there's the big combat here. The chariots clean up here pretty well and take out the poor little quarrelers unit. So Keefotep and his charge of the chariots will continue as they overrun a bit for the forward. Yes, and they're going into the organ gun. So that flank is crumbling.
Turn 5.
Turn 5.
So the dwarves fighting bravely. We're turn 5. The chariots have turned their flank. The little gyrocopter, a desperate move here to try and pin down those horse archers. His king's unit's moving up there in the background, you can see. I keep hedging back with my necropolis knights because I know if I send the knights into the king's unit, I'm just going to throw away those knights. So I'd rather him just trundle after them, keep him distracted. My newly raised tomb guard shuffled forward, and then they cop another round of shooting from the quarrelers and the cannon. So all my raising didn't do anything. There's the tomb guard. They're just a bit slow for the rest of this army. They could be in somewhere if they were a bit faster. All those gyrocopters hadn't slowed me down because I could have been reserve moving them up a little bit faster. But anyway, I'm happy they're not dying to the king's unit. So I want to keep the king's unit out of the game as long as possible so I can clean up everything else maybe. The only way I can lose this is if I decide to go and attack the king's unit and he kills my chariots or something.
Tomb Kings turn 5. My will be done. Now I'll just go the +1 weapon skill. Yep, that's the big one. Goes off with a 14.
Try and do about that, really.
No, need an 11.
I could try and do a double 6.
Yeah, you could.
No, nearly a double 1.
Put that on them so they can't march or charge.
So it's a good day out for the Tomb Kings, casting miasmic mirage on the King's unit. So I'm not going to go anywhere near the King's unit, and the chariots are just cleaning up this flank. And eventually, probably not going to get to the King's unit. I've got to get through the cannon and then the other quarrelers and so on. And I'm just raising back into the Tomb Guard. So we decide to call it quits there with a victory to the Tomb Kings. So the big unit of chariots, very fast and manoeuvrable. So we're just tidying up now, and we call it a victory for the Tomb Kings. So finally having some revenge on the dwarves after a run of losses. I think I might have beaten them once with the orcs and goblins, but they've smashed my high elves and so on. So back to the drawing with the high elves. But I do like this list. I do like chariots. I always wanted to run more chariots than anything else. So I think the king in a big unit of chariots works, and the Necropolis Knights are a bit slow to keep up with them. I think maybe the Knights, I could just swap them out for chariots, but I do like the models. They need a priest around them giving them reserve moves so you can get them into the right place. So maybe a larger unit, a big unit of 6 that I can keep near a priest to reserve move. So they were okay. I didn't get one unit into combat. They did keep the king's unit distracted on that flank. I do like ambushing. They came on at the right time. So that's probably a bit more powerful than I thought, ambushing with a couple of scorpions. And the tomb swarm saved the day because those gyrocopters were going to go after my Hierophant. So they'll have to be careful there. That's why I had the tomb guard in there, so some place for the Hierophant to hide next to or behind. So maybe just get rid of the tomb guard and make these archers a decent sized unit, because they're hard to get rid of and they would have to commit to get into the archers to get rid of them. But I do like chariots, so Necrosphinx would also make the army a bit more powerful. And I've just bought a War Sphinx. I faced a War Sphinx at a recent tournament. I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I could put a king on a War Sphinx as well. So I'll build up a War Sphinx. I might just run it on its own out there. That might be another option. So lots of options in the Tomb Kings. So a victory to the Tomb Kings over the Dwarves. Finally we got rid of some of those pesky little Dwarf scouts for a change. That was the difference there. But I do like that manoeuvrability. Things to think about for the next list with the Tomb Kings. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.
Resubscribe. Those creaky old gamers need your support. Now go paint your miniatures and have a great day.